Welcome back to Total Money Management, the Signal and Noise podcast.
How are we, gentlemen?
Very good.
This one's a very special...
Week ending, lad.
Week ending 17.
October.
October 17.
Drum roll.
Firstly, can we apologise to everyone for the start of the podcast last week?
Yes.
Boy, sound difficulties.
It sounded like a
sound
tin man.
technicalities.
Yeah.
We didn't know until it came out, so apologies.
We let Steve press the buttons.
There you go. And if you thought last week's podcast, you should have been on Thursday night's coaching call.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh,
That made
that
the
was
pod
a good
look
one.
The podcast looked like...
I don't know what it is, just old man and technology.
Well, gents, this is a special episode because it's sponsored by Maris Wines and Luke down in the Barossa Valley.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you, Luke.
Thank you for sending us a bottle of red.
You'll also note they're being drunk out of respectable glasses this time.
We bought some good glasses.
Can't say we're not classy up here in Queensland.
But no, thanks. It's beautiful. So check it out. There's
Magic.
a code TMM.
Magic.
No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
But we'll continue.
But it's a lovely drop. A lovely drop. Shiraz.
What's on this week? Phyllis?
2022. Oh my God! There's only one thing happening this week. Rare earths.
Did you
That's
bring
it.
your hat?
No, I didn't.
Tom didn't.
I haven't
No,
got
Tom
them
hasn't
yet.
ordered.
Okay.
Tom hasn't
Yeah,
ordered.
that's fair.
That'll be a Christmas present.
That's fair. I couldn't find any hats big enough to support all our big heads.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a fair call.
They needed more material.
We're getting a bright red
But
hat.
I've gotta
that says
say-
Steve told you so on it.
I've got to say, it's legitimate.
It is.
The rare earth stocks this week did pretty well, lads.
What was
No.
the best one?
The best one was Australian Strategic Metals on Tuesday went up 60% in a day. Northern Territory Minerals went up, I think, about 40. And a lot of the other little ones went up a lot as well. But then of course, as usual, what happens is, they ended up down 20%. So, like as in you're still up probably 40 if you bought on the Monday.
Yeah.
If you bought on the Tuesday, you'd be a bit shitty.
He sits here and bags out the volatility of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, and then his rare earths do 60 in a day.
Yeah, but that's unusual. That's
And
unusual.
It's all the stocks I don't buy as well
Yeah.
that have these crazy gains. So I'm here for it.
Yeah,
Steve,
yeah.
Another Steve told you so.
Yeah, but anyway, look, the reality is rare earths have been heavily in the news. Now, I know I'm doing affirmation or effective bias by, stuff by looking at it going, oh, yeah, because I'm looking for rare earth stuff. But it's dominating industrial policy and trade stuff. America's got semiconductors and the Chinese have got rare earths.
It's all that's in the news at the minute.
It's all we've been talking about for 8 months, going, running out of materials to build bombs, and rare earths is a good place to look.
Yep. And so it's now the story's getting a lot more airtime. And the other thing was Trump this week came out and said, we are in a trade war with China, right? So it doesn't get any plainer when the US president comes out and says we're in a trade war.
Another hat.
There you go. We'll need a rack soon. But yes. Deglobalisation, hello. Just chalking them up. There's too many. More wins than the Broncos, I am. Conflict, hello. Price controls. That's what I said. I said price controls, right?
You did.
Trump came out and said, or I think Besant came out and said they'll introduce floor price controls, floor prices. So in other words, what they're doing is saying, see, part of the problem they got with rare earths is it's run by private industry, right? Generally. So the government says, oh man, we need some neodymium, and the private sector go, well, we're not doing that because it's really expensive, and every time we do that, China, cuts the prices and makes it really hard. So what Trump has done, which is what China have done, which is what Japan did and Germany and they all do, is basically say, all right, well, we'll find mechanisms. What are the big what are the big issues that stump you? And they go, well, the price is cheap. And they go, all right, floor prices. The infrastructure is really expensive. All right, well, we'll build the roads, right? We'll build the rail. And that's what they do, right? So that's what Trump is now doing. There's a lot of economists who are completely freaked out by it because it's like, oh my God, it's government, it's not free market and all that sort of stuff, right? But if you're battling, in this case, China, who is basically just throwing money at anything, well, I'm sorry, free markets are not going to win against that, right? Because it's the one with the deepest pockets wins. And China's got the deepest pockets in the sense that they're prepared to say, yeah, whatever you want, we'll do it.
Well, we talk about cycles a lot, and it's Howard Marks saying everything cycles. We were here where governments controlled everything 40, 50 years ago anyway. And they were in control for a good 30, 40 years, however long that was prior to free market.
Yeah, but post the war, governments ran, lots of stuff. And that's like I said, governments were like 50% of GDP. Right? Telstra was government. Commonwealth Bank was government. CSL was government. Qantas was government.
Yeah.
Not just Australia, though. Everywhere.
Sorry?
Not just
Australia.
Australia.
Yeah, absolutely. Europe are notorious for it. I think I said a few weeks ago on the pod, the Italian government is part owner in a boat builder, right? Yacht building and stuff. And you sort of go, what the hell's going on there? Like they're just in a lot of things, right? And so it's only the sort of five, Australia, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, England and America that are much more free market oriented, right? And that's why we're the ones who are carrying these really huge deficits, because all the other countries are taking advantage of us. Right, so we say, oh, look, we'll welcome everybody's cars. We'd like to send our exes to you. And they're like, yeah, nah. And it's like, okay, well, that's not very fair. And that's what's been going on, right, with Japan and Germany and China. And China's still going, nah, we're just going to export everything. And that's why I say to you, I'm telling you, deglobalisation is here, right? We are never going back. Now the Europeans are saying, okay, if the Chinese come here, we want the IP, right? So 30 years ago, you went into China and China said, all right, well, we'll let you build GM cars here, but we want a joint venture, right? I.e., we want to learn off you, right? Now the Europeans are doing it to the Chinese and saying, well, listen, if you want to come here and build a factory, cool, but we're getting the IP on it.
Mm. Well, it makes sense.
Absolutely. This is what I'm saying, Jacob.
It was illogical before.
These
Quite reasonable.
The five countries, America, Canada, blah, 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 we've all been looking like absolute idiots.
Yeah.
Right? And part of it is, well, and again, with rare earths, the start of it was, it's a really toxic process. Right? So when the environmental regulations really took off in the 70s, basically the private sector said, well, this is not worth doing.
Yeah, we don't want that here.
They
can dirty their country.
Well, it was tied in with cheap labour as well, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. But back in the 70s and the 80s, there wasn't smartphones or a lot of stuff, EVs and all that sort of stuff. So rare earths is a really small market, right? So it was a bit like, give it to the Chinese, it's only worth $1 billion a year, right? But the Chinese... And with the technology now, with smartphones and bombs and bullets and cars and all that stuff, basically nothing moves now without rare earths, right? And of course, China's got a lockhold on it. So that's why Donald Trump is going after Greenland. He's doing deals with the Ukraine, with Argentina, right? He's doing all of this stuff because what we're seeing now is what we talked about 9 months ago, which is saying... the countries are now scrambling for resources.
Yeah.
Right? Because if they say, well, you can't buy Russian oil anymore, what you do is go, well, Jesus, okay, well, hell, where are we going to get the oil from? Right? That's what's going on. And every country is going, okay, well, if we're not allowed to buy from Russia and China, hell, we better start doing something.
Yeah. And
at the moment, there's still everyone, I think, well, I shouldn't say everyone, but I think there's a lot of countries who are still thinking, they'll come to their senses and sort it out. I'm telling you, it's over.
Well, there's a few major players.
It's massive leverage.
Yeah.
You need the thing, we got it. Like, what can you do for us?
But it cuts both ways.
Yeah.
See, because the Americans have got the latest advanced semiconductors, right? And the Chinese want those.
Is it TSMC? Are they in America?
TSMC, yes.
Are they in America now? Or are they still in...
I thought they were Taiwan or something.
They're in Taiwan, but Biden said to them, we'll give you, I think it's something like 50 billion, right, for the whole sector.
Yeah.
But TSMC got like 15 billion or something. And now they're in Phoenix.
Yeah, right.
right? And they're building more.
Well, what are I know we're jumping a bit, but jumping back to rare earths.
Yep.
There's a few major players. Like Australia, we've got a lot of rare earths here.
Yes.
You've got Africa.
Africa
Like South
is
Africa.
okay. The issue is, God, I hate saying this line, rare earths are not actually rare. I hate saying that because it's always like, oh God, 101, someone's just read the first article on rare earths, right? Oh, it's not rare. But the point is, the processing of it is the dirty bit, right? And a lot of rare earths are byproducts of other things like iron ore or copper and stuff, right? And it's like, oh, what's this crap? And it's like, oh, it's neodymium. Oh, right, okay, what do we do with this? Oh, they find a way to use it. And the reason why is because they're really valuable in high temperature and coating things. So you can run jet engines so it doesn't melt, right?
Yeah.
Because it's coated with the rare earths that absorb the heat. So there's, China's got a lot of them, but we've got a lot of them as well. But see, we look at it and say, oh, that's so dirty and toxic. That's why they said, okay, and the Chinese said, we'll bring it over here, we'll do it. And then what they did was, which was very smart, was the Chinese said, righto, well, we'll do the processing as well. So every country sort of went, great, we don't need to do it, and it's really cheap out of China. But of course you then go, oh, hang on a second, we're completely reliant on China for all these advanced things that we need.
Yeah, can you sell me the bits and pieces to build the weapons to
that I'm going to point at you?
Yeah.
It's a bit like, okay, and
Give me the gun. Give me the gun.
to your point, Tom, China said, we want to know what you're using the rare earths for, and, we don't want you using it for military applications.
No,
which
we'd
is
never do that.
Which is kind of fair enough, right? But that would be like America saying, all right, well, we think the same with semiconductors, right? They call it dual use, right? In the domestic, in the commercial economy, consumer economy, and in military, right? So China can send stuff to Russia for the military, but they can say, well, no, we're sending it to Russia because they want to build, drones to deliver pizzas. And it's like, yeah, but they could deliver bombs. And it's like, well, yeah, but, our intention is they're using it for pizza. That's what they told us, right?
Well, it also means that they can control the supply and demand and therefore the prices.
Absolutely.
And therefore
Absolutely.
the tariffs. And it just controls the whole economy on
That's exactly right.
rare earths.
And that's why you say, well, the Americans can't have that. They've got a war machine over there that depends on China. It's like, no, that doesn't work. And that's how it's been working.
Yeah.
So
it's changing big time.
Yeah, and I think it just the point I'm trying to get across is it's the rhetoric and the separation is getting more, not less, right? So there's no more going back, right? I'd be absolutely gobsmacked because Trump won't give in and neither will Xi. So the argument is, okay, well, it's going to be a painful 5 or 10 years, right? Because we'll be saying, oh man, we can't get new smartphones because the military get first dibs on the rare earths.
So how is that impactful to Australia?
Well, we've done a couple of things. Did I mention how good that Shiraz is?
It is excellent.
We've got
It's very good.
We've got rare earths. There's two types of rare earths, right? There's light rare earths. Now, there's a lot of them around. The key ones are the heavy rare earths, right? And I think there's about 6 of them. Neodymium, terbium, yttrium, right? Yttrium, right? And they're all the really critical ones, right? So what Australia's got a lot of those, right? And we've got Linus in Malaysia processing it,
Yes.
right?
Linus is one of the companies that have done it incredibly.
Linus has got a really big mine over in Mount Weld in WA, right? And they've got a good supply of heavy rare earths and lights, but the heavies are the key. So they dig it up, take it to Malaysia, do some separation, which is the really toxic stuff, right? Geez, you guys drink fast?
Oh, it's just me.
Yeah,
Had a big week, all right?
Must be just you.
He's a thirsty boy.
So they it's basically like saying you've got a shirt and you've got to put it through the washer 15 times. And every process, you're using really toxic chemicals to separate out the until you get left with the powder that you want and go, hey, that's neodymium, right? And then there's even more steps from there. It's incredibly complex. And part of the problem is America has lost a lot of the knowledge about how to actually do it, right? Because the Chinese have been doing it for 30 years. So the American who was 50, who, was the engineer who did it, well, he's dead. Or he's 85 and it's like, well, I'm not working 50, 60 hours a week. So they've got this problem where they've got to have to try and build up the knowledge again to do it, right? Now, I suspect that, and what we'll do, and this is Australia's role in it, will be, listen, we got the raw product, right? Now, we might be able to say, and it'll be a bit of a shit fight with the environmentalists.
Yeah, I was going to say it won't be good for the carbon footprint.
Well,
it seems to be going out the window a bit.
It's
now.
not the carbon footprint, Tom. It's the toxicity of the tailings and stuff. Well, so it's like waste, where you go, man, what are we going to do with this? Stuff that burns a hole through 50 feet of the earth. It's like, okay.
I've seen, and it's another Steve told you so moment, but I've seen a lot recently, specifically the last couple of weeks, where net zero is basically not happening.
It's fading. Yeah, I must admit, I thought climate change would be big, but I got to say, I think I could be wrong on that it's a fade.
So the 3 Cs.
Sorry? 3 Cs, yeah, we're not off.
Let's change the document real quick. So
it's climate. It's climate change, just in the wrong direction.
yeah, true.
Is it?
Yeah, the climate's changing.
No, I'll just change it to climate catastrophe.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, while we're on that, if you want to download the 4 Cs, which is
let's
for a limited time.
For a limited time only, you go to the Instagram page. There's a bunch of links you can download it for free there.
And we'll give you the 4th C for free.
We can change the 4th C to China.
Well, you could do. But in all seriousness, yes, I think what Australia is already working with America, right, in the critical mineral strategy. I suspect our role will be, you guys keep digging it up, and we'll figure out what to do with it. But just keep digging it up.
Yeah, we're going to need it.
Right? Yeah, exactly, Tom. Exactly. And listen, we'll talk about prices and we'll work something out. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Second step, maybe, I'm not sure, but maybe Australia is able to say, all right, we're going to do some processing here. Right? Because it's not in Toorak. It's going to be out at, WA miles away in the middle of nowhere. So the greenies will come out and say, oh, there's the blue spotted lizard, and the government will just go, okay, next. What approvals do you need to get the mine done, right? Look, mate, I'm a realist. I've been in politics, right? It's how do we do it and who do we squash to get it done? Or who do you pay off, right? So you say to the greenies, all right, we'll give you the barrier reef and, let us do this over here.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that will happen, but that could be a potential thing where we say, all right, we'll dig it up, and then because it's close to the source, we'll do some processing. Then we'll send it to Japan, and they'll stick it in cars and smartphones, and to America, because they'll be needing it for semiconductors and machinery and bombs and bullets. Everybody's happy, right? There's a supply chain.
But could we send it to Japan if China are withholding rare earths from Japan at the minute?
Well, yes. What'll happen is China will. I think the issue with it is China has a monopoly, but when you've got a monopoly, you've got to be really, really responsible in the sense of monopoly. When you've got a monopoly, what you want to do is you just want to price it so that nobody else comes in, right? And you're making money. But you don't want to get greedy because then someone says, oh, well, stuff this, we're going to do it ourselves, right? Yeah. So you don't want that. And the problem China's got is in 5 to 8 years, we'll have solved the rare earth problem, right? Now, will it be painful? Hell yeah, right? So it might be, the next iPhone might come out in 2031, right? Because the government will be saying, listen, we know all the rare earths for the bombs and the bullets, and we're going to get priority.
Or we'll get better at recycling.
Yes,
old
absolutely.
Old
that's huge, actually,
at
the minute.
Yeah.
But it's costly.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now, that's why Trump is saying we'll do price controls. And what the important part for investors is I think it was Besant came out and said, yes, but you won't be able to do buybacks, right? So what Besant is saying is, and this is what I'm saying overall, when government controls more of the economy, what happens is the prices get controlled more because the government says, nah, don't try that bullshit on us, right? Paying the CEO 45 million, it's like, nah, none of that bullshit. You know, he gets 2 million, right? This sort of stuff, because they get more and more influence. That's why the tech bros are now starting to see Trump not as a friend, but as an enemy, right? Because Trump is saying, well, we're going to have price controls. Now, the free marketeers are going, but hang on, I can get $100. And it's like, bad luck, you'll be getting 50 and it'll be bought by the Pentagon and you'll do what you're bloody well told.
Yeah.
And that's...
And Trump's stuff's all exempt because...
And Trump what?
Trump will absolutely...
All of Trump's businesses are exempt from it.
It'll be every industry he's not in.
Yeah.
For the time being, yeah. But, you know, in all seriousness, you tend to think it's going to be an absolute boom, or a gravy train for shareholders, but it won't be. And part of the reason why is because we will be investing a lot of money. Now, while a company is investing a lot of money, they're running down their capital, or the rewards come after they've built the factory and processed stuff. But the first step is saying, listen, we're going to spend, 20 billion, right? Well, you don't see any profit from that. It's only after you build the factory, you build the processing, you sell it to Japan, then you get profit.
That would stimulate economic growth, though.
Yes. That's why I said about 12 months ago, Jacob, what you'll find is all of us will have jobs and we'll probably be quite well paid. There'll be just less money for speculation, right? So that's why I say it's going back to when I was a kid, when it was basically we made lots of our own stuff. It was expensive, but everybody had a job and they all worked and, you had a decent standard of living.
It might last again.
Sorry?
Stuff might last.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's a good point, Tom, because they'll be saying, well, hang on, we can't have this stuff where you're turning these bloody iPhones over every 2 years.
Yeah, you'll buy one toaster in the next 2 decades, not one every 2 years.
Well, you'll also get the stuff which they've been fighting the tech bros on, which is the right to repair. Right? So if my iPhone's old and, my daughter's got a shitty iPhone, the idea would be, all right, I'll chuck it away and we'll get you another one. Well, now it will probably be, no, fix that one. Right? Because it's really the software that's the main bit. But again, it's just getting people used to getting used to the idea that you just can't go out and get what you want anymore. It's it's basically like a war footing.
Yeah, dare I say it, there'll be an element, a middle ground in between that we actually don't understand yet or have thought of.
Yeah, it depends who we trade with, right? But it's obvious Australia's going to be on the side of the US.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right? So that's going to have big implications for BHP selling to China.
Yeah.
Right? Because the Americans will say, hey, you sell it to us, we get priority.
Yeah. Right?
So,
okay, who's some companies to look out for then in rare earths? Is Lynas, who we've talked about.
Yep.
Australian Strategic Metals.
Yes, they're located in Dubbo. Now, none of this is a recommendation, but I've held them, oh, Jesus, so painful, through thick and thin for ages. But they're ones who are doing downstream processing, right, in Dubbo. They also have a bit of gold as well, I think. But they're really well, they're sort of connected to the Koreans, right? The Koreans have basically said, whatever you produce, we'll put our hand up.
Hang on a minute. What's downstream processing?
Well, that's, like we dig up the rare earths, right? Yeah. And then we go, okay, we've got all these rare earths, but
we'll send it to someone else.
Australian Strategic Minerals, I think it is, might say, all right, well, we'll process it on site at Dubbo. Then we'll send it to Korea as the finished powder, who'll then make it into,
whatever it needs to be,
a Hyundai or, whatever they do.
Right, okay. Cool.
So it's
Now,
Okay.
the
up
industry...
600% this year.
What's that?
Oh, wait, I've looked. Is it ASM?
Yeah.
ASM.
It's probably up a lot, yeah.
Wait, on the New York Stock Exchange?
No. Australia.
The New York one's up 600.
No.
That's the one I recommended.
They're up. They're now up about it'll probably be about 200%. We talked about it in May, and it was at 50 cents. It's now about $1.80, and it was $2 on Wednesday. Linus, we talked
in
about.
January it was 50 cents.
Yeah.
And it got up to $2.
Yep. Linus, we talked about at $8, and now I think it's 21 or something.
Yeah, it's done well.
And then the other one is
Northern Minerals.
Northern Minerals. Now, let me say a couple of things. There's a lot of little companies in rare earths, right? A lot of them are explorers, so they're
Speckies.
not. Yeah, they're speckies, right?
I've lost a lot of money in
Don't go
speckies.
leveraging the
miners.
mortgage,
Specky
right?
miners.
They catch your eye, don't
That's
they?
exactly right.
Love a specky.
Right? Well, so you've got to be careful there. The heavy rare earths are the good ones, right? They're the ones you want to
He's
look
laughing
for.
because he knows how much money I've lost.
What else have we got? Okay, a couple of things, right? Like AI, what you find is, and I can tell you this because I was in the last rare earths episode, when it was a bubble. Every company that had every miner that had a shovel in his hand suddenly said they had rare earths, right? Oh my God, we've discovered rare earths, right? So they want their stock prices to go through the roof, right? So you've got to be a little bit careful about announcements. So you've got to do your due diligence, right? Then you'll get the science side saying, oh, we've discovered a way to make batteries without neodymium, right? And you'll find out that it's like, it's probably 40 years in the future, right?
And it costs a lot of money.
Yeah, there's a few of those things. The Japanese, when the Chinese banned rare earths from Japan in 2011, the Japanese came out a little bit later and said, we've discovered rare earths in the Sea of Japan and we're going to, mine the seabed, right? Like there's a lot of that stuff that goes on, right? Because they, both sides know that they're in a bit of a bind, so it's okay for China to say, we've got lots of rare earths and we do all the processing, right? And it's like, okay, well, that's cool. You make those cars. But the fact is, you can make all those cars you like, asshole, but you're not selling them to us. So what's the point in having your rare earths? That's the sort of thing, right? Because that's what China's problem is. China's problem is it's got an enormous capacity. And if the countries are now saying, well, we don't want your stuff, which they are, the Chinese are going, oh, man, what are we going to do with all this stuff? You see, because the Communist Party is about, they don't want social trouble, right? And if they get social trouble, that's the thing that the Communist Party gets concerned about, right? The Tiananmen Square stuff, right? So they've got to keep. The deal is always, listen, all of you people shut up. We'll just make you rich. Well, when the deal is, oh, actually, we've got a problem here. That's when people go, well, hang on, you haven't done your part of the deal. Right, and that's what China would be worried about.
Yeah, right.
So they're trying to leverage the rare earths to try and crack America. But I doubt it.
Trump will just keep moving the goalposts.
Well, no, it's that's part of his strategy, Tom. Part of his strategy is
Destabilize.
particularly Obama. Obama told everybody what he was going to do, so they went, "Cool, we got 5 years and we know what we're going to do now." Trump is different by saying, I'm gonna say 50% tariffs, then I'm gonna say 100, then I'm gonna say 25, and then I'm gonna say, oh well, I'm not really sure. So the Chinese are over there going, Jesus, how do we plan for this?
Yeah.
Right? What's going to happen at 25? Not sure. What about 50? Oh, not sure. It's like, oh Jesus, well, which one is it? Right? This is why everybody's on the hop with Donald Trump. Whoops.
So I'm not quite done talking about these companies and ETFs yet. So
Yeah.
we've got the companies.
Yep.
And they're all good and well. They've done a zillion %, and I would recommend that you probably don't buy into a big green candle because that's quite dangerous. So the other side is let's talk about ETFs. Like where can we go there?
There's a couple of ETFs which have also responded quite well. There's one, I think it's, what's that first one, Jacob?
REMX?
Yeah, I think it's predominantly Chinese companies. So, to be quite honest, I'd just be a little bit careful there, right?
Well, we'd learnt from bloody Russia and Ukraine.
Yes. And then
of
the other one
sovereign
is, I think it's XMET, is it? XMET.
That's right, yeah.
And that's predominantly Australia and Canada, I think. So you can have a look at that.
That's up 80% this year.
I have absolutely no doubt that there will be now a rush of ETFs.
Yeah.
Rare
there
earths
always
onto
is.
the market, right? That's what finance people
But
do.
be careful, like rebalance, have an amount of money that you're thinking about investing, but don't chuck it all in and be stupid about it.
Yeah, the way to do it we talked about is when you've got small companies, the best thing to do, let's say you've got 10 grand, right? The best thing to say is, right, I'll put 1,000 in 10 of them. And 3 of them will go bad, 2 of them won't do much, but 5 of them will go gangbusters over 10 years and I'll make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Is that the barbell
That's
strategy?
the sort of, it's sort of statistical arbitrage.
Because isn't that Nassim Taleb spoke about something like that where he basically said
A little bit,
with
yeah.
5% of
Yeah.
whatever it is of his portfolio,
In
it's
the
spread
Yeah,
it.
Taleb says put 90% of your money, metaphorically, you put 90% in bonds, super safe. And then with that last 10%, buy 25 rare earth companies. So what Taleb is doing is saying, it's not original. Ben Graham talked about this years ago. Ben Graham said, just buy all the companies with a PE under 10. Right? Yeah, they'll, half of them will lose, but 5 of them will recover, and you make lots of money. And he worked it out that he made 15% basically every year, right?
Yeah.
And it's still a good way to do it.
Yeah. Just buying things out of favour.
Well, yeah, but also too, Tom, it's a form of diversification, right? If you had 20 grand, you wouldn't say, right, I'm going to put the whole lot in Linus. What you'd do is say, all right, well, I'll put 5 in Linus. I'll put, 2 in strategic metals. I'll put 2 in Northern Minerals, and there's others, ionic rare earths, and there's graphite's another one, right? So there's those sorts of things where you're spreading it across. So what you're doing is saying, well, look, if you don't want to put 20 in Linus and then have the share price go from 21 to 12.
Yeah, but you also don't want too much of your portfolio in one sector, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So
That's
you'd always look at it as a percentage of the working capital.
Yeah. And look, these, as I say, when stocks, these things go up 80 and 100% in a year, you need to be careful, right? Could they go up more? Absolutely. But please don't, buy in and think, oh man, I'm going to be rich at the end of the year. It's like, no, don't do that. Right?
Well, your investing career is not 1 year, it's 30 or 40 or whatever.
Yeah, this is a long-term story.
Compound it.
Linus may well end up at $40. I have no idea. But what I'm saying is this is a critical industry that is not going away. Mm-hmm. Right? And it's a key. Rare earths are like the new oil.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
you can't function without oil. You can't function without rare earths.
Oil's so cheap, it's killing me as well. There's 2 things I've got. So I've made a bit of a deal with a listener, and I'm going to do your name a really bad job. So I'm sorry. Con Kiriakou. Yeah, he's.
You made that up.
No, I haven't. He's a real guy. He listens to all of our podcasts, and he said if I give him a shout out, I'll give us 5 stars. So that's the first thing.
Okay, yeah,
Deal. The second thing is we had someone reach out on Instagram today, basically saying, speaking to the out of favour topic that you were talking about, Tom, why don't we just copy Warren Buffett? Like, if we can all see what he's buying and selling, why don't we just copy him and we'll all be rich?
You should.
Well,
why doesn't everyone do that?
Yeah.
I think it's a good question.
Yeah, it is. There was a study that was done might be about 10 years ago. I'll see if I can dig it out. We can put it in the show notes. Basically, it said if you bought every Buffett position when he declared it, right? Like he came out and says, hey, I bought $1 million worth of Coca-Cola. And you went, who? I'm going to buy Coca-Cola. Why do people always ring me when I'm on a podcast and they know I'm on a podcast? Right? My ex-wife, now my son's ringing me.
Is it Maxi?
You
should get him on one day and he can talk to the listeners.
It's just annoying.
Go on, Buffett.
The point being, you can follow Buffett, but it's a lot of people.
He lets you know way after he bought.
A couple of months after.
Well,
yeah.
But there's a lot of Buffett got rich over a long period of time, right? Most people these days want to get rich, really,
Steve's
really
messaging
quickly,
Max.
right?
Yeah.
They want to buy Nvidia and get rich in a year. They want to buy rare earths, right?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds quite
But
nice.
but here's the thing, right? So Buffett might declare something a couple of months later or longer, and also he'll buy $1 billion worth of Apple or $1 billion worth of whatever stock, and he'll get a special price for it. Like he's not gonna get the market value. He's gonna get something 20 or 30 cents or whatever under at a special price. So you can copy him all you like, but to get
Do you have
the
$1
same,
billion?
I've got a cool bill spare.
Yeah, maybe Jacob.
Well, we don't have the same weight as Buffett, so you can go in and you can copy him all you like, but you might not get the kind of 10, 12, 15, 18% returns that he gets year on year. So I just think be careful of using that strategy, because there's a reason why you know exactly what Buffett has, but not everyone's rich that copy him.
Yeah, I think the other issue is with Buffett too is that, and this is the thing we try to get across with all investing. It depends on when you start. It depends on how long you go for. It depends on what companies you buy. It depends what the ideological era is of the time. And so Buffett's been going a long time, right? He's got unbelievable knowledge. He's really great at picking the right sectors. So you can follow him. But remember, Warren Buffett's had some horror stories as well.
Yeah.
IBM, right, was a shocker for Buffett.
But wouldn't you just buy Berkshire Hathaway if you wanted to copy him?
Yes, you could. But you see, Berkshire only had B-class shares about 10 years ago, where, the poor plebs like you and I could actually buy a share, because it was like 250,000 a share, right?
Huh.
And then he said, all right, so then it was like $100 a share or something, right? But point being...
But even that can get overvalued.
Yeah, absolutely. And Berkshire's been overvalued, right? But it's also been undervalued.
Yeah.
But again, it's
only $500 US a share.
you've got to know what you're doing, right? You've got to know what you're doing, or you've got to know intimately about what Buffett's doing. Because ultimately you go, he bought Burlington North, right, railway, and he was criticised by heaps of value gurus, right? Thing turns out to be an absolute pumper of money, right? Like it's just the best investment. Everybody shitbagged it. Yeah. But he knew what he was doing.
Well, he hit the nail on the head. It's not about what he's buying. It's about what he's thinking. It's about why he values a certain stock the way he does, how much he puts into it, what the risk is, all of those principles that we talk about. Like, it's not about what he's buying. It's about what he's thinking.
Look, as I said, the study showed that if you followed him, I think it was he gets about 20, and I think it was something like you get 15%, right? Which is, doubling your money every 5 years.
It's pretty good.
But why don't people do it? Everybody's an individual, right? And there's people who hate Warren Buffett because he's successful, right? Envy, greed, you want to be different, all that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, Berkshire's done 130% over the last 5 years, whereas the S&P's done 90%.
Berkshire.
What's that, sorry?
Berkshire's done 130% over the last 5 years, whereas the S&P has done 90%.
Yeah, but see, a few years ago they were all criticising Buffett, right? Going, you're falling behind the S&P, blah,
He's
blah,
still
blah.
smacking them.
And they do this, it's the same with AI, right? Buffett's missed out, they did this in the internet, right? And he, as I said a few weeks ago, right? He stood up there and he went, you tossers have all got your hand on it, right? And he was proven right, right? So, anyway.
Let's leave it there.
Don't
Thank
get
you.
me started.
Thank you, Luke, from Mirrors Wines. That
Absolutely.
was delightful. And
it's
we'll
a
see.
lovely little number.
Absolutely, that was amazing. And we'll get back to the stock reviews next week.
We will. Yes.
We promise.
Thanks for listening.
Cheers, folks.
This podcast does not provide financial advice.